Good morning, everybody. I have missed you so much. Happy New Year. Before I start gabbing, I'm going to explain what's going on here. I've started a circular stone. So if you don't have a circular stone, just draw a big circle and work within that circle on your stone for the same design. That's my best suggestion. So just pretend you're working within a circle, or pretend you're working on a circular stone within that space. So I've used a compass to create a couple of circles. You're going to be able to see these circles a lot better, but I'm only going to highlight the ones that I need to. Most of them are just there for reference so that I know where to put my design. I know where my design needs to go to. I've also used a sponge to do a circular golden spot in the center, as you can see. And I am going to do the next circle in gold so you can see approximately how big that circle needs to be after your center dot. So however you make that big center circle, you need to make your next circle that much bigger. And then we're going to go from there. So I'm using those penciled in lines as guides. Okay, those are there as guides. If you need to slow it down to see what those circles are, where they are on the stone, do that. Just mute me because I sound like a monster. An intoxicated monster even. So I've placed these dots where I want them. Top, bottom, left, right, and then on the outside of that gold ring, I added in the center of those dots. And then in the center of those dots on that first penciled line, I did a smaller dot. And now I'm doing a half diamond or triangular pointed, going down to the midway, before almost over midway actually, to the next penciled line that we have there. Now I did make a mistake and I used acetone to erase it with a Q-tip. So if you have acetone and a Q-tip at your desk, it's a really good idea. So I'm going to pinstripe, like make a little dial in the center here. So I'm just doing very fine gold lines where those dots are, going from the center gold circle. And I just keep going around and in between the lines I've already created until I get them spaced apart evenly. I'm adding more dots on the outside of that ring, just much smaller, and those dots line up with the dots right below them. Now we can see the pencil line very, very hard to see. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm dragging these little dots down to that next, the last pencil line that I made. So there's an outer circle and then there's another circle that's a little bit closer. We're going all the way down to that outer circle with those smaller dots, and then we're scooping down our gold lines to those gold dots. Just as reference, we're using those gold dots as a guide as well. Now we can still see all the pencil lines. We're still going to need to use some of them as reference, like right now, right above that pencil line, we're putting a big dot. And that's going in your swoops that you just did, just above that second pencil line. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing and that this makes sense. When we get to dotting and stuff, that's when I'll start gabbing. And that's when I want to say like some prayers for all the people who've been affected by the fires. It's been a very hectic beginning of 2025. So I have dotted in all of those spaces now, not just the center, just smaller dots. And I'm doing half diamonds as well from those new dots that we just created, going to that little dot there. It's very tedious, but it's also worth it because this is going to look absolutely gorgeous when we're done. I promise. Absolutely promise you. So next, we are going to bring another dot down to wherever you feel is comfortable at the very edge of the stone. Just down maybe an inch. Just drag another dot down. Imagine that there's another pencil line going down there, and then we're going to swoop down again, just like we did before. And these are directly below the previous swoops. For those of you who have been here for a while, it's my 7th anniversary, actually, of being on YouTube. I just got notification from YouTube congratulating me. But you know I don't use technical terms because I didn't go to school for this. I'm self-taught and I'm just having fun and I like to make things look beautiful. So, yeah, we're swooping and we did swoops underneath the other swoops that we did. Then I did little swoops. I swung from side to side from those areas above there, as you can see right above the bigger dots that we just created. And then I drew a little line going down to the edge of the stone between those swoops. And I've put it in slow motion so that you can actually see what the heck is she talking about. So now that it's dry, make sure it's very dry, especially your big dots, because they take more time. So be patient. Go have a coffee. Go have a glass of wine. Go do your workout. Oh, my accent changed a bunch of times there. But yeah, then come back and erase it once you're for sure that it's dry. Because you don't want to mess any of this up. No. So I'm going to speed it up. It's pretty boring to watch me erase it all. And there was a lot in there that I needed to get rid of. And double check it, walk away, come back, look at it again, make sure you don't see any pencil there because it will show up. If we don't cover it with dots or something, you will see that pencil there and you might regret not going back over it again. So now we have our canvas. It's dry, it's ready, it's beautiful. We are going to fill it in with color, just like we do with a coloring book. Only I'm going to try to be more careful with how I place my dots. So I'm going kind of like around the inside of the space, like right up against that frame. And then I fill in the center. So I stay within just the inner side of that gold line. And then I fill in the center. I'm trying not to overlap any. Sometimes they run together. Like if your paint is very watery, it'll just run together. So try and use paint that isn't too watery because your dots just are not going to be dots by the time you're done. It'll look kind of messy. So sorry about it being blurry. I promise you it's going to clear up in a minute. It's just that my camera goes out of focus and I'm in the zone. I'm not paying attention. So I'm walking dots. I'm using 2 different shades of pink. There's pink melon and like a baby pink. And I'm walking these dots around the big gold dots that are here. And you can't see that. I did 3 rows. So there's 3 fuzzy, wuzzy rows. And then I walked the dots around the rest of that half diamond with the pink melon. So there we go. We can see it much better now. This rock is going to really darken, I'm telling you, and it's beautiful. It's perfect. I love everything about it. But just keep in mind that it's not going to be this shade of gray when we're done. So I'm doing the same thing around every single one. 3 walking the dots. Your dots get smaller as you run out of paint. And then I just kind of fill in the rest of that angle with the other shade of pink, which is pink melon. So light pink, dark pink. You can choose your own colors. You don't have to choose the same colors. This is just the ones that I chose. And with it being, I'm in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and we have a lot of winter right now. And I'm not even really exaggerating that. It's a lot of winter. It's more winter than I've ever seen living here. And I'm done. I am done. So I wanted just some bright color and happiness for this stone. So my next one will focus on something else, but this one I just needed to brighten my life up with because of the chaos and the stress and the winter and the shoveling. And I just want to see spring and green grass and flowers and happy smiles and flip-flops. Anyway, I've moved on to moon yellow, as you can see, and now a bit of orange. And I'm basically just doing the same thing with every little space. That smaller yellow space I did around the outside like I did with the blue, and then filled it in whatever space was left. These orange dots, I'm more walking them again. I'm doing 3 rows of the orange. So you can see wherever those 3 rows fit in the space, because of course we didn't use measurements and perfection when we created this design, right? So we kind of have to just fit what fits in our spaces, because they're not all going to be exactly the same. This isn't perfect, but it's going to be perfectly beautiful. So yeah, I'm doing 3 rows of the orange, and then we're going to move on to a different color, which just happened to be magenta, which I found out today from Jack's that's his favorite color of pink. Probably the only color of pink that he likes. So here we go. We're going to add some magenta after our orange. So what I've done is I've kind of walked around the space again, and then I fill in anywhere that's missing. I'm just doing the best I can with the spaces that are given to try and make it look as even as possible, as tidy as possible. But really you can tell that certain areas look very uniform and certain areas don't, and that's okay. I'm trying to keep it mostly uniform this time around. Sometimes I really don't care where I put my dots. It really doesn't matter. I'm literally just filling it in with color in a different way instead of just painting it on with a paintbrush. I'm just filling it in with color in a different way. But this time around, I'm being more careful about placement and size. I don't want to make them too big over here and too big over there. I want them to be pretty much, in tune with each other. You know what I mean? So we're going to bring some more blue back in. It's going to be some cerulean blue. And we're doing a big dot in the center and walking up the sides. And the paint obviously starts to run out. The dots get smaller. Just keep walking and keep talking until you run out of paint up the sides. And I'm only going to do that one line of dark blue, that cerulean blue, and then we're going to move it to a teal, if that's okay with you. Now I am going to be doing a jelly-like center or a jewel in the center that we do with paint. It's very tedious, and sometimes people just don't like to do it. It's optional. You don't have to. But I'm also going to be using some UV gel and some chrome powder to shine up some other areas, like on top of our gold dots. You don't have to do that as well. It's completely optional. But I am going to bring that stuff out once in a while because I really love it. And I like using all sorts of mediums. So it's going to happen on my channel because, well, it's my channel. So I'm allowed. So while I'm dotting this and using UV gel and stuff like that, I want to send prayers out for anyone who's been involved in the fires, anyone who's gone through any kind of turmoil so far this year. Let's join together and kind of collectively just say, you know what, that's enough. We're going to have a good year. We're going to let things slide. Things that we can't control, we're going to just let them go. I've read the Mel Robbins book, Let Them, and I think that's an amazing, amazing way to live your life. So if you haven't read that book, please do. Especially after what I've been through recently with my husband and divorce and, you know, just him abandoning his child and not paying child support, all of that stuff. It's just been very difficult, but I'm finding like peace, and I'm healing in a lot of different ways, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm holding myself accountable for a lot, which needed to be done. But I don't want this year, like everybody's so scared of this year. I don't want to feel scared. I want to be excited. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Let's just see what happens. Let's just roll with it. Let's just think positive and send prayers out to everyone who's needing it right now. And keep painting, okay? Keep painting. It means a lot more than just the words that I'm saying. It represents more than just keep painting. If you're painting, that means you're breathing. That means you're inspired. That means you're living your best life. That means you're doing beautiful things, bringing beautiful things into the world and giving them as gifts and sharing them with people and making people smile. And we're all here for that reason. We're all here for a reason, and that's your purpose. Keep painting because I love you. That's why I keep painting. So I've turned this into a jelly area using shading and blending and all that fun stuff. I'm going to post a link in the description of this video for a more in-depth tutorial on how to create this kind of look. It really is very easy. Don't be too worried about. Don't get anxious. Don't be like, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I'll post that link in the description. And then you'll want to do it all the time. So here's my little gem. I put some extra shine on it using that white, so we have some light reflection. I've put black dots on top of some of the gold dots, as you can see. I'm adding some gold dots along the side here that I'm not going to top with black. It's just a big dot, and then next one is a medium, and then there's a small. So large, medium, small. That's the best way. It's like French fries. You got a large, medium, and a small. So I'm going to leave those ones gold. I'm going to let them dry. I'm going to make sure all of my gold is still there, that I didn't dot over any of those important lines that are in our design. I've also outlined the inner part of the gem area in the center. That's been outlined with gold right on the edge of, or outlined with black, sorry, to separate it from the gold. Now I've put UV gel. I'm putting UV gel on all of my black dots. There we go. Now I literally just use a dotting tool and I wipe it on the edge of the brush of the UV top coat, and I'm able to have just enough to dot my dots. You don't want to put too much there. You don't want it running all over the place. Just dot the dots. Best advice. And then you pop them under a UV light. I usually put them under there for too long. Well, not too long. I just make sure they're cooked. I don't want any raw UV. Like we're cooking. We're cooking. Okay, so I'm putting this blue chrome powder from Amazon, super cheap. I'll link it in the description. I wipe off any extra, and then this is ready for me to resin, and you're gonna see it in a minute. Super shiny and gorgeous, of course. So stay tuned. I might even show you some stuff that I have hanging around. So I have my cat Max sitting here with me. You might hear him purring. He's very happy. Hi, Max. He needed attention the same time I wanted to show you what was at my desk. So I've been creating some mandalas as well as astrological signs. All of these signs shift under different lights. It's really hard to tell, but you look at it under one light and it's one color, and then under the light, it's like, whoa, that's not the same. That's not the same. Like this one here is purple, but if we turn this light off, it goes like beet red. So it's strange. Depending on the lights that you see them under, they shift. They're absolutely stunning. These ones as well, they change under the lights. They're perfect hand-picked Lake Superior stones. 2 coats of resin. On that second coat of resin, I've added crystals. So there are, all the facets are still shining and shimmering, and they shift, color shift under different lights, and each one is unique, gorgeous. So yeah, all of these things are going into my shop, or they're already in my shop. So you might have already seen your astrological sign in there, and if not, you can send me a message and ask me to create yours. I still have a couple that I'm working on that need to go in, but some of them are still in. This one looks so drab and plain under this light, but as soon as I turn this light off, it's totally different. Like there's a whole rainbow going on in there. It's just stunning. I love it. Plus all the crystals and the way it looks like under my light, and it shines and shimmers up on the wall or the ceiling. Or if you have a candle next to it and that's sparkling, and it just looks so beautiful. This one is magnificent. It goes so many different colors, and then in a different light there's this teal, and it's just like wow. It's like wow, I love that. I make these to make me happy. So here is the star of the day, all finished with 2 coats of resin. Look at how dark that stone went. It went really dark. And that's okay, because it just made those colors pop off even more. They look beautiful. I absolutely love it. Do me a favor, guys. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if you're going to make one, if you're going to change the colors up, if you're going to do anything different. Throw some new ideas for me in the comments. And also, keep painting. I love you guys. Bye.